Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get back into the Unreal Engine. Um, if you're catching this live on stream, thank you for being here. If you're watching this later on video, thank you for joining me on this little venture of ours. Um, I'm being joined by Blackheart, who's currently in the stage right now, and I will go ahead and invite to speak.
Hello there.
Hey there, bud. How's it going?
I'm doing okay. How about
Awesome,
you?
awesome. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Just kind of got my mind blown from the previous Pega topic, but they put like they said it was like, hey, this is going to be 10 minutes long, and it felt like they put it like an entire book into a single web page. It was um, just jam-packed full of information and trying to wrap my head around everything that was being said in it. It was like, oh my God. I had to split it up into two separate days because it was just too much. So, um, so my mind is kind of going right at this moment in time. But um, we got we got Unreal to work on today. So, um, last we left off, um,
Step 8.
yeah,
Applying material to static mesh anchors.
yeah, which was for the artist quick start. So,
Yep.
um, okay, so, here, just in case, let me go ahead and bring up, your stream here, just in case, just in case I have to kind of, see what you are dealing with or what you're contending with or whatnot. So, all right. Let me make sure that everything else is looking good. Yeah, well,
Yeah, but you're probably most of the time just waiting for things to load in.
indeed. So, okay. Looks pretty good on my end. So, you ready to go? Shall we get started on this?
Yep, I'm
Okay.
ready.
Not quite sure why Chrome is not being shown. There we go. Okay. So, you're now ready to bring things together. Yay! Okay. The objective of this step is to apply our material to the static mesh we imported. Specifically, you'll learn how to set an anchor actor's default material and change materials used by an actor. So, this section will show you setting an actor's default material. So this section will show you how to set a static mesh actor's default material. The default material will be used whenever an actor is placed in the level. Inside the content browser, double-click the asset you imported earlier in this guide, which was the basic asset 1. The static mesh editor will load your asset for editing. So, uh,
Okay.
or at least they're kind of showing that you need to kind of select the basic asset, from the pictures in the web page example. So,
Yep.
now I don't think it's showing the other window right at this moment in time.
No,
So,
it's like a separate window. I'm
yeah,
using the window capture I use for rock to show it off.
there we go. Um, yep, same here. So, um, which is kind of interesting. I actually had the second window active on my sources, so I had to switch back to the first window for my second window. I messed up from yesterday. Whatever. We move on. Okay, so the static mesh editor will load your asset for editing. So yeah, that should be visible right there. Okay, so inside the details panel, under LOD0, left click the materials drop down menu. Okay, so um,
Materials.
So under the
LOD.
materials, under LOD0,
Here it is.
um,
Oh, there it is.
let's see. Left click the materials drop down menu. But I'm not seeing the it's not highlight for me. Okay, maybe I'm missing something here because it's
Let me
not.
see what you're seeing. Because on LOD0, I had to expand the sections part to see what it's being shown, but the drop down window doesn't work.
Yeah, same. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there.
I don't know either.
Let's see. Um,
Let me go up to the LOD. It should be this one.
yeah, they're specifically saying the LOD0,
Yeah,
and
but that drop down's not working. The only drop down that's working is up on material slot.
yeah.
Let me see what the
Hmm.
next step looks like.
Well, it's telling you to
Okay,
check. It's telling you to change the material. So
yeah, I think I know, I see what the problem is. It appears this is like a version difference. What's supposed to be in LOD0, which is not being allowed us to change, is actually now on material slot, because if you hit that drop down, it looks like what's being shown on the next part. The drop down window where you can select the material.
yeah, but I don't know.
It could be like a version difference where they change that spot or something. I don't see any other way to actually do that, like to enable that part in any way.
Hmm.
Mm, so I can nothing building setting. Same there.
Yeah, I think they changed it up. They changed like the changed it up a little bit because if you look on the okay, so it looks like they kind of separated them into like two separate sections from the looks of it because if you look on the web page, you see the tutorial asset material, which is which is what the material is there.
Yes.
And you see that material slots also has like the highlight and isolate, which is the same for the LOD 0. But it also has the textures drop down, which is the same as in the LOD 0. But if you look to the LOD 0 down below, it does not have that textures drop down.
No, it is located on material slot.
But here's the thing. If you notice though, LOD 0 is still dealing with cast shadow, enable collision, and the default 1.0 for the screen size. So it looks as though they kind of said, you know what, let's take some of that and we'll move it over to the materials section and we'll leave the LOD 0 as its own section, you know. Now I don't know what the material slot is all about. You know, why there's like a drop down for that even though it's not working for us right at this moment in time, or
Yeah.
it's nothing's dropping down. But maybe if we change the texture, because it wanted us to change it to rock, right?
Yeah.
Um, Now maybe the material slot would change. No, it didn't. It doesn't. It doesn't drop down at all after that change. So I'm not quite sure what LOD 0 is all about. So
The LOD0 automatically updates upon updating material.
yeah, I know.
It will adopt that. And I'm also noticing that the whole site section on details doesn't really match what's shown on the preview. Like it's showing that LOD0 is at the very top option, but we have something else at the very top option. Then we have LOD settings and static mesh on the preview that's shown on the website. But if we look at what we have material slot, LOD picker, LOD0, then LOD settings, general settings, collision, import settings,
Okay,
ray tracing.
let me-
That like there it doesn't match what's on the preview on the website.
well, the website isn't showing everything for
No,
that.
but you can
So
actually see you can see where the bar is located when it was loaded in. Like it's showing that you're looking at what's at the very top right now on this preview
mhm.
on the sidebar. LOD0 is on the top for them. Then LOD settings, then static mesh settings. Ours at the very top has a material slot, LOD picker that doesn't show up on the preview, then LOD0, and then everything else that's further down. And we have another window which is socket measure, which is not shown on the preview either.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
guessing they changed that up. And now materials is what manages the textures.
Well, they added additional parts
Yes,
to
I'm guessing
this.
the preview is just out of date.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of this is feeling already kind of out of date. We've already kind of, you know, seen some problems before. Yeah, we saw some problems yesterday with it as well. So we're gonna
Yeah,
have to kind of deal with
it's
that. Um, not much we
and
can
we're gonna
not much we can really do, unfortunately. So
like, take what was shown to us and maybe see where it might have been moved.
yeah. But I'm still kind of curious as to um, you know, what exactly are they like referencing for LOD? What is LOD 0? What does that mean? What is the
Yeah,
acronym kind of talking about? You know,
it's something that's not even seen
so
like a description of it. And if I hover my mouse over it, I'm not getting a description for it. It'd be nice to know what it means, but well,
yeah.
they're not telling us that.
Not
Although
really.
I could Google it. I
Not
could easily do a quick Google of it.
yeah. Yeah. Um, but it would be kind of nice if they kind of explained it here. You know.
Yeah.
Um, Under this. Maybe if I select the static mesh editor UI, it kind of goes over it a little bit. Hold on, let me look. Uh,
Okay, LOD, level of detail. It is a way to limit the impact of meshes as they get further away from the camera.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
I've
that's.
seen tricks on some games where the further away it is, the level of detail the lower it gets.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's a means to control that.
Um. But here, if I guess, sure, I guess, but at the same time, um. Oh wait, hold on. Okay, so notice in the material slots. Right
Yes,
now, there's one material slot, right?
yes, material slot 1, and we can add more.
Yeah. So if you add more, then you can basically say, okay, so, the base LOD is currently, the LOD, the rock that we just selected, right? But if
Yeah,
we wanted to add another, you know, if we wanted to add like something that had like maybe less detail, then we could put that one in so that
yeah,
like
and the
maybe at
LOD would switch between them.
right. So like if you do get like further and further away, then it will kind of reduce down the detail. Like it will only show like the color. It won't like show the specific highlights of it or something like that. So instead of like, you get like super close to grass and you're seeing like every single blade, but as you get further and further away from it, you don't see those single individual blades anymore. You're just kind of seeing the green. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So, okay. Okay. At least I'm assuming that's where you can do it. You can add
Yeah,
another material slot, put like a different one that doesn't have as much texture, and then you
something
can
with less details, and that's it.
yeah, and then you can well, I mean, you can, you know, based off of what I'm seeing here, you can either make it like super detailed, like you're showing um, like if you're going up to a person's face, you're actually seeing like their freckles kind of thing, you know. You step back a little bit more, the freckles kind of go
Disappear.
away. Well, not necessarily go away, but not disappear, but just kind of maybe fade back or something like that. They're not as pronounced, but you might still see like a person's scar or something like that, right? Or maybe they have like a change in skin color, or maybe they have like scales that have different colors to them, or something like that. Take a step back even further, and now you don't really see those scars or different color scales or something like that. You're just kind of seeing, their like body color or something like that, or maybe just the clothes that they're wearing, whatever, that kind of
Hmm.
thing. So like you can add in those like multiple layers of details, into that particular object, you know. Um, like
Yeah,
if
very
you're
common trick used by developers when they have very detailed stuff, but they don't want to waste resources on anything that's further away.
right, you don't necessarily need to kind of focus on that level of detail, when you're super far away from it, you know. But as you get closer and closer, that detail will kind of become a little bit more apparent. How you can kind of allow for that, or as you get closer, how it switches, I don't really know. How do they figure that part out? That's something that we'll probably have to see later, but
Yeah.
if we even get to that point, my friend, you
Yeah.
know we may get to, and we're probably still going to be doing like things like, yeah, we're just going to have like um one texture and that's it. Here's your grass. leave us alone.
There's your oblivion to great grass.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. Um, then for now, we'll just kind of deal with that for the time being, and then maybe later on we'll go like, hey guys, it'd be really nice to be able to kind of see this happen. Um, but obviously, we don't want to necessarily overload artists in doing all that work as well. So we have to pick our battles, right? You know,
Yeah,
like if we have like if we tell the artist, hey, this is going to be a long project, um, for us the programmers to build it, like we're trying to build like the RPG, for example, right?
yeah,
And we tell them like, hey, um, build the landscape and buildings and so on and so forth as plainly as you can, and we'll put them in. And if they're like done, like halfway through the project, and we're still kind of working on the code or something like that, testing it out and making sure everything kind of works, then maybe they'll go back in and go, okay, let's see if we can add some more details in there, and they
yeah,
they might they might do that. Um, so nothing wrong with that, but then again, if they do things like that, it will add to the overall size of the project as well. So we have to kind of be careful with that as well. Like if we're basically saying, hey, we're going to be doing a project that's on mobile phones, and the artist starts going, hey, I'm going to add like layer upon layer upon layer of texture onto this one particular object, then we're going to be like, oh, no, you know. So um, so yeah, it depends obviously, but we can kind of discuss that later, obviously. So um, So the preview pane should update with the rock material, how it looks, and all that jazz.
yeah.
Clicking the save button first and then close the material editor. So save and then close. And then of course we are back to Unreal Engine. Okay, it updated automatically for me. Well, thank you there, OBS. I appreciate you doing that. Okay, inside the content browser, drag and drop the used texture static mesh actor into your level. So, um, which is a little rough because I mean um, I have objects already in the field already, so it's like,
I mean, like what I did was, there's like a line in the middle. I just turned the camera around and faced that empty space that's underneath the camera,
yeah,
and just work with that.
yeah, same. I just moved the camera around and put it in, so. Okay. So the specified material will be used anytime you place an asset in the level. So yeah. When we placed the static mesh object in our level, we created an instance of our object, an actor. For every instance of that actor, we're able to specify its material. So here's how you change a static mesh actor's material. Select your static mesh actor. Okay, so what I think we should do in this particular case, because it sounds like we're going to be changing like one actor's materials, and not like all the actor's materials, if you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
So what I suggest that we do is we put in two of the same object, same act, go to the content browser and we drag in another one of the basic assets once. Okay, so we have two of them kind of side by side. So we can kind of show that if we're changing the material for one, we're not changing the material for both. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
So, so we select our static mesh actor Inside the Details panel, locate the Materials section and click the Materials drop-down menu. So there's the materials right there. And I already have like the one that I dragged in selected automatically. So inside the pop-up menu, select a different material. And I guess they said, pick any one that you want. So they selected the tutorial asset material, switch it back to it. So
Yep.
so I just did that. Alternatively, drag and drop a new material into the static mesh actor. Um, okay, so I switched back to the tutorial. You can see like um, the different meshes between the two. So there's that. And now they're saying that you can even take straight from the content browser and change the mesh like right then and there. Oh,
Yeah,
you
like you
can.
can drag it onto the object and book, it changes.
Yeah.
That is similar to like Unity. Unity did the same thing, I believe.
Yeah.
In
Um,
that case, they did teach you about prefabs before doing that, though. Like, if you wanted to change everything, you needed to change the prefab. But here, you can like, this is a means of changing like only one element without changing the base itself.
right. Well, I mean, they just kind of they kind of taught us that though by changing the basic asset, by going into the um
Yeah, they
uh
first taught us how to change the base itself, like
yeah,
the
but
quote unquote prefab.
yeah, by going into the static mesh editor, you can you can change the base of it. Whereas, you can just kind of change the you know, each of the actors differently based off of the materials, or you can drag straight from the content browser. So not that bad, but it can be a little dangerous too. So like if you were to go, hey, I want to drag this rock up to this actor. Oops, I missed. Now the floor is rock. Or something along those lines.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's safer to either edit it from the drop-down material or drag the thing to the material section of the details in the
yeah.
menu.
So,
Those are much safer.
hmm
As long as you remember you have selected the right thing as well.
indeed, indeed. So, okay, you've just applied materials to your static mesh actors by setting your actor's default material, changing material used by your actor. We've now reached the end of the artist's quick start guide. By now, you should have the skills needed to set up a project, create materials, edit materials, and apply materials to the static mesh actor. Are you ready to do some exercises on your own? Not really. But I'll finish this step anyway.
Yeah.
Um, so they're basically saying, hey, on your own, create a new material. Um, main material node, settings, simulated plastic material, add basic asset one to the level, apply the material to it, updated material to apply the brick normal map texture, and then there's a lot of additional like web pages to kind of go to on that. So for the most part, I don't think I really want to go and deal with that personally. So
No,
I'm thinking let's kind of back on out of this because we're pretty much done with this.
pretty
So
much, yeah.
I think we can move on to the programming quick start.
Yeah, I guess we can jump into that one.
Okay. Unless you want to kind of close out today's session early, you know, because we still got like 20 more minutes. So I mean, we could say, hey, we're just gonna um, stop it here, and we'll leave the programming for next time, or um, you know,
Hmm.
Or do you want to start on it now? Because, the first couple shouldn't be that bad. So, maybe. No,
I don't know.
I
Well,
do
let's have a quick look at it.
I do see the fact that they did the same thing that they did before with the artists. They basically said, "Hey, you finished this step." No, no, I haven't. So,
Yeah, let's say let's start this play next time since we finish this. So
okay.
we have like plenty of time to go through it. I am going to take the time to remove all the quote unquote finished that it's already been applied to it.
What do you mean?
Not just removing all the markers that are on the programming quick start. Since it's marking me like I had one,
Oh, okay,
two,
got it.
three, five, six
Yeah,
done.
yeah. I see. I see what you're talking about. Going through the web page and saying, "Hey, on this page, you already did the required setup to create the new C++ class, edit your C++ class, to compile and test your C++ code, end result on your own sample code." It's like, oh, god.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
I
doing.
also might need time to set up the capture for the for Visual Studio. Since I don't know if the one I have on will pick it up quickly.
Understandable. Understandable. Um. Okay. You. Hmm.
What's up?
So, I know my way around C, and I know a little bit about C++. Would you like me to kind of discuss that a little bit while we have time?
Uh,
Because, I don't know how much you know about, um, I don't know how much C sharp has in comparison of with C and C++.
with
So,
C, pretty much nothing, but with C++, I have no idea really.
okay,
Most
so,
of C++ is pretty much little to nothing.
okay. Um, so let me try to explain it a little bit here. Um, if you go to the programming quick start here real quick, under step 3, there's the edit your C++ class. Okay. There's uh, like a visual that kind of shows like multiple different files in there,
Yeah.
under quick start. So you notice that obviously there's some C sharp tags in there, C sharp files, quickstart.build.cs, quickstart.target.cs, quickstarteditor.target.cs. And those are C sharp, and obviously, you know, if we use C sharp, that's going to be interesting in this, but we'll move on. The other files that you'll see in there is, like, take from the very top there, or near the very top, floatingactor.cpp and floatingactor.h. Okay,
Hmm.
so floatingactor.h is what you call header file. Okay, that the .h is the the that's the, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, that's like the label of what a header file is all about. Okay, if you have a .h, you automatically know it's called a header file. Okay.
Okay.
Um, so a header file is basically something that you will use to, um, it's like it initializes the code itself. You're putting in the functions in it. You're referencing libraries that you might need in the code itself. Um, you know, I don't know. Did you when you were using C sharp, was there like libraries that you put like at the very top of the file itself? Like, hey, I'm gonna use this library. I'm gonna use that library. I'm gonna use this other library. Were you doing that
Yeah.
like at the very top?
At the very top, yeah, it would import certain libraries.
Okay. So a header can take that and put it in its own file. Okay, so that the compiler looks at the header file and automatically knows what it needs to reference for the C++ file itself. Okay, so you don't
Mm.
necessarily need to put the library, the into the file itself. I mean, you could, but normally it's just easier to just kind of put it in the header, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's a bit of a much cleaner code, I guess.
Yeah. Um, then when you get into the C++, you're actually putting in the actual code. Okay, like here, let's see. If you go down to say like step 4, they show like two different if statements there.
Yeah.
That would be code that you put into the C++ file itself. You don't do these kind of code additions typically in a header file. Okay.
Hmm.
So typically, not all, and there are certain cases where you might want to put in something that like maybe you're doing like a constant. Maybe you'll put it into a header file, but for the most part, you don't want to add any kind of like major code in there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So um, so the first for the most part, you're basically using the header to kind of um,
House the libraries, pretty much.
it's like an outline of your C++ file. Okay, it's basically saying this is what you will see in the C++ file. It won't necessarily say, this is how the logic will work out, but it will just basically say this is what you will see in there. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the difference between the two for the most part. Okay. Obviously, we'll be getting to do more, later, but um, okay. For example, go down to the on your own section.
Here it is on your. Yeah, I see it.
So for floating actor.h, you'll notice that they have a section called public. Okay, and they have, you know, u property with various um, values contained inside of it, you know, parameters put inside of that u property. And then of course they have a float speed equals 20.0f. That is, um, not necessarily like a constant, but it's basically like it's setting that float speed at the very beginning. Okay,
Yeah.
that value may change because it's not a definitive constant. It's not like a set constant, but
No,
it's
it's just unit as starting value, and that's it.
right. So, those could change. So, if you wanted to say like gravity, that will never change, then you can always put like a constant in there.
Yeah.
and you know, same spot. You can kind of put it in the header, you know, as a constant in there. But um, so yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll cover more of that um tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I hope that kind of helps a little bit. I hope.
Mm, yes, it does. It does.
Okay. You know, I'm not like I said, I'm not the best when it comes to C++, but I'll do what I can to explain what I remember.
Yeah.
So,
Either way, we both will have to improve our C++ to be able to make something, anyways.
yeah. Um, the last time I did C++ was actually back in community college. And the last, like one of the last classes that I took, I was learning programming then. I barely had any like programming training prior to that. I took like one programming course in high school, and even then, um, that wasn't like they were using like a pretty um old programming code. Even prior to C and C++. So it wasn't great, but um, the so when I got to the community college, I was kind of learning C and C++ for the very first time, trying to learn object-oriented programming for the first time. And I just remember, I was getting kind of stuck on one of my projects, and I would like raise my hand. I was like going, "Hey, TA, can you come on over and help me out with this?" And the guy, took one look at my code, said, "Your code is ugly," and didn't do anything more. And it's like, oh, well, thanks. I appreciate that. So, um, so gotta love those, you know, individuals that,
Yeah.
basically tell it to you straight. I mean, my code probably did look ugly back then. Who knows? It probably still does. Um, when compared to some people that are very professional. But at the same time, you know, um, um, I've had times where it's like I've been on a project, like I mentioned before, I was on that one project that the guy kind of did his own thing by himself and said, yeah, I finished it, without any kind of input from me.
Yeah.
And I mentioned the fact that I couldn't read it all. You know, I it was um it was not readable to me at all. I could
Yeah,
not.
you couldn't make heads or tails of what was doing what, where was everything going. And I'm guessing there weren't any comments to specify what does this section do.
Nope.
Eh,
From what I could gather, he tried to overload a lot of the he was doing a lot of overloading
mm,
for the project to be cutesy on his on getting to the end result. Um, but I was taking one look at it and I'm like going, there's no way that I'm going to be able to take this and because it was part one of like a 13 part project. I was looking at that part one that he gave and I'm like going, there's no way that I can take this and put on a part two, you know.
no.
And the fact that he kind of did it all himself, I was like going, okay, teacher, I need to get out. I need, as much as it's gonna suck that I'm kind of gonna be doing code by myself because everybody else had partners by that point. I was like, I can't, I can't work with this guy. If he doesn't want to work with me on writing code, then and this is the code that he wrote, you know, I'm better off alone, you know.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
So,
The first language I had learned was Python back when I was going to college as well.
mhm,
That one I didn't have much of a trouble because it was pretty streamlined. Like it wasn't that hard.
mhm,
Then they jumped from that to C sharp, and it was like we went from 0 to 100 in 5 seconds.
yep,
That w- Python was not the point for us to start and then jump to C sharp.
yeah,
And my first project on that one, my group just bailed, just disappeared. Even stopped going to the classes, and then I had to ended up doing it myself. But it was such a big project that I couldn't finish it in time
mm,
because it was made to be done in group.
right, yeah. I would,
Then on the second time that I was actually put in a group, they were still going. They just didn't give a damn about the project.
oh jeez,
Knowing that, I started working on it early. They told us at the very beginning what the project was gonna be about. I just started early on my own.
mhm,
And when I turned it in, I did notify my teacher that time that this is what I did. They asked, okay, what did the others do? I told them they didn't do jack shit. They didn't do anything.
yep.
Like I was like, okay, you're still not gonna help me? I'm gonna throw you under the bus.
I
I
mean,
did this on my own. I had to uh take time out of my schedule to do this. I had to kind of struggle with other homework I had just to get this project done in time.
yeah, yeah,
You
uh,
know.
yeah.
Eventually, I
I
decided to
feel
take
I
another course for Java, which the group I ended up with cared more about the aesthetic than the functionality.
oh jeez,
You know, it's like, guys, doesn't matter how pretty this look. This needs to work. If it doesn't work, we're done for.
yep, exactly. Exactly. Um, that it was, and that's reminding me of like, well, I mean that same course that I was on, and that I'm telling you about. I was also, when I was going through the university, I was basically taking two programming courses back to, at the same time. You know, two
Mm-hmm.
separate programming courses at the same time. Every quarter through my stay there at the university, and um, I made the mistake of picking one of the hardest courses or one of the hardest professors uh,
Oof.
for well, okay, when when I was taking it, or when I was there, I heard that this particular professor, if you have his class, you will learn everything. I mean, he will, you know, uh, you know, he will teach you everything that there is to know about it. Okay, you
Mm-hmm.
don't leave that course, kind of going, blah, 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 I don't know anything. No, he puts you through the ringer in that course, and um, it was one of those courses where it's like, it was a make or break. If you do not make it, you're out. You failed it. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, he basically stated, at he stated first day of class, you know, if you don't, if you don't pass 3 out of my 5 quizzes, you'll fail the course. You will get an automatic F. There's no questions. Okay, I will give you an F automatically. If you don't pass the midterm, you will get an automatic F. If you if you don't pass the final, you will get an automatic F. And there's 3 programming projects that the class will go through that you have to complete on time, you know, and it has to go through my test suite in order to pass the class. If you don't get through all 3 of those projects, you will fail the course. That was at the same time as the other class that I was dealing with, that one well, not idiot, but you know, with my other partner. So so that class I was kind of struggling because I was by myself when I should have had a partner trying to, you know, catch up because I was already behind. Okay, then the instructor was basically saying, okay, well, I need you to turn in project one to me. You know, if this is if he did this on his own, then you're going to need to turn in project one to me. So I'm now behind in that class. So I had to try to catch up there, but at the same time I had this other course that was like now I could have it wasn't like the only teacher at that particular moment in time. There was another teacher, but at the same time, I wanted to learn as much as I can, at the university. I wasn't there to like, get C's and skate and try to skate through. I wanted to learn, what it is, what the information, how to program, you know. Um, I wanted to learn about everything that, the professors were providing. Um, so it was the reason why I picked that professor. I wanted to learn as much as I could from him. So on one hand, it was a mistake because, I was already dealing with a lot during that quarter already,
Mm.
and that cascaded into other problems down the line. Um, but at the same time, I don't necessarily regret it either because, I mean, he was right. He taught me a lot when it came to C and C. Well, not C++, but we were the main language there was C, and he was basically putting us through the ringer on it. And I'm like, God, this is, in some ways, this is the hardest class ever, but at the same time, it was the best class ever. Uh, I think I still have his book of notes somewhere. Um, I forget exactly where, but I think I still have it somewhere. You know, but yeah, it was oof.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So it's rough trying to do like two programming courses at the same time.
Yeah. I think I
So
had a similar situation when I was doing programming and learning operating systems. Operating systems that was a dense lesson. I'll say that.
yeah,
That I struggled a lot on that one.
yeah,
Between making the project and having to do learn everything from that. Ugh, my brain was like, stop.
yeah. I was like constantly programming during that quarter. I you
Yeah.
know I basically found the spot where I could just kind of sit down, relax, have food and drink next to me, and I was just coding on my laptop like almost constantly. So, obviously I took some time out to, because when you're doing two projects in code at the same time, your brain gets mushed fast.
Yep. Yep.
um, so, um, so yeah, I was taking time off. I was like, okay, I need to. My brain is mush. Time to play some Minecraft. um, but typically it was like, okay, after a little bit of time of that, let's get back into coding. I don't remember the other courses that I had that semester. I was not paying attention to either one of those other two courses at all. For that quarter. So I think I skated by those, okay. Like I wasn't really focused on those all that much because obviously my main focus was trying to handle those two programming courses.
Yeah.
So, oh boy, memories. Okay, Well, let's go ahead and close down there, my friend. You have
Yep.
yourself some food to get to, and then you got the Star Rail later on tonight.
Yep.
Same with me.
Yep. I'm gonna try and progress the story a little bit. Find Fu's ascension material. I'm needing that stuff.
Mm. Yeah, there's a couple of characters that um, I'm not. I don't have the essential materials for them either. Namely,
Mm,
Kefka. She doesn't have. I haven't gotten that
I remember.
particular calyx
Yeah,
available.
you're gonna have to probably work on the main story to reach the area.
Yeah. So
And
yeah.
Fu seems to be quite far because I haven't found it. I've played through the story for quite a bit and still have not found it.
Oof. That's
And
that's.
she's like what's keeping my team alive because they hit hard where I'm at. They
Mhm.
hit really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm feeling like I'm gonna need like a good um what's that one polarity? It's like the space polarity or something like that, or gravity polarity.
Um,
Um,
yeah, I don't remember it either.
yeah. But I feel like I'm gonna need like a good
You should
like
have gotten one for free, which I now understand it now. Which the one with what's that game called? The Japanese or Chinese game with the little blocks.
oh mahjong
Yeah,
or
the one that
mahjong.
has those mahjong things with her. Um,
Mm.
her strength is based of how many matches she's got. If she got like three in a row,
Oh
then she can
right,
hit pretty hard. If you got
right.
all four, then it's gonna do devastating damage. Like her attack is based on that.
Yeah, yeah,
Unfortunately, re-rolling doesn't take a turn for
yeah,
her.
yeah,
Maybe right now you might want to work on that one until you get yourself a better one.
yeah, yeah, indeed. Um,
Yeah, I find a lot weak to that on where I'm at.
yeah. We still got like one more week with the current banner, but that character that we have right now is what was it? Ice?
Cryo, it's ice type.
Yeah. So it's like,
Y-
yeah,
I
okay. You
yeah,
know,
I don't remember who else was on that banner right now.
well, the one character that you've been liking, the one
Sampo.
character, Sampo,
Oh
he's
yeah, he's
he,
really good.
he's in that banner as well. Um, I don't know I don't know if he's going to be if he'll work out really well with Kefka and Himiko combo, but we'll see. We'll see. You know.
Let's see, like he's mostly a breaker that applies debuff,
Yeah.
shred debuff, and that stacks up to 5 times. And that shred is where most of his damage comes from.
Right. Right. Okay. Let's go ahead and close down the Unreal tutorials and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to, we can talk more about Honkai Star Rail later on tonight. So. If you want to
Yeah,
join in this
yeah. I'm
stage
probably
again.
gonna be still pushing the main story a little bit. Maybe do
Yeah,
some side stories to try and do another poll, but mostly gonna focus on the main story.
yeah, yeah. So,
I gotta get Fu's essential materials.
all right. But we're gonna go ahead and close on down for the Unreal. More to go
Yeah.
and to come tomorrow.
Yep.
Obviously, we're gonna be going over the programming section, so look forward to that. Um, I got some videos to upload just after this, and then both of us will have Honkai Star Rail later on tonight. So come on back
And
and join us for that.
yeah, I'm gonna go off and get something to eat before starting a new stream for that.
Indeed, indeed. But yeah, um, I'll talk with you later there, Blackheart. You have yourself a good night, and I'll catch you next
You
time.
too.
All right, man. Take care.
Mm.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, and for those of you that are with us right at this moment in time for for the Unreal, I want to thank you for joining us on it. No chatters, but that's okay. I still appreciate you being here as a lurker. I appreciate that. Um, if you're catching these videos later on YouTube, anything you can do to help out with the YouTube algorithm would be fantastic. Would love that. You're welcome to check out the description for social media links, um, links to the pages that will help me out directly, such as Patreon and Throne, and got the stream team that I made, the application page for that as well. So check that out. But that's going to be it for tonight's Unreal Engine tutorials. More to come. So look forward to that. But that's going to be it for that. So take care. Have a good night. Stay healthy. Stay safe. And I'll catch you strangers next time.